It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Here live on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, Sports Mirrors. Smoke and Mirrors, presented by the Sports Hitlist. I'm not hosting. I'm just here because they asked me to be.
Yeah.
I'm hosting. I'm back after a brief hiatus on Friday. I had my second shot of Moderna, and it took me out. I mean, it was a slight fever, chills, but I wasn't able to go. So I did watch the show. Declan, you did a great job up there. It was nice saying all that football talk. I missed some of the baseball.
I'm ready to get back to baseball.
Yeah. I mean, there's still some football to talk about. And also a little NBA controversy. What kind of weekend would we have if we didn't have some kind of controversy?
Pretty crappy one. Like nothing.
Yeah. So as you
guys
can tell,
do your thing. We're live. Yeah. So
no, for sure. As you can tell,
Carl's
I'm just here.
He's like a little girl's dad at like a dance recital. Right? He's just like in the corner.
I'm just here.
He's on his phone.
He's our spectator. It's nice to have that. This is a different format for us. Usually we're on StreamYard.
Commercial free.
Commercial free. That is something to point out. Thank you, Carl. Y'all are going to get this straight hour, no commercials. Enjoy it. But
it's a one-time thing, so don't get too excited.
Hey, you never know. Don't say it's a one-time thing. You never know. But here comes Greg. All right, we have our full squad here.
Yeah, I'm here. I mean, I can't see you guys on my full screen, but I'll take the little box window.
It's okay. Hey, we're making it work today. It's a Monday, right?
Greg, it's a commercial-free show. That's what they told me.
That's what I like to hear.
So now we have Greg here. Let me just do the intros as I usually do. So this is Smoke and Mirrors, presented by the Sports Hitlist on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. I'm your host, Stephen Polius, alongside my fellow hosts, Declan Krogman and Greg Polius, and boss man over here, Carcool Launch, who's again spectating for us, helping us out, producing this show.
I may chime in if I care about a topic. I'll just give you that heads up because from what I hear is on the deck, there's something I may have to chime in on.
All right.
First of all, shout out to you, Carl. Stepping up to the plate. We appreciate you, big dog.
I do what I can, man. This is what I'm here, man. I love you guys. Anything I can do to help the team.
He's a boss man for a reason. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
With that being said, let's get into it. So, for those that are in the know in the NBA, you know that the face of the NBA, LeBron James, has a bit of an issue. His Lakers are sitting at the 7th seed in the West, and they're in danger of falling into the play-in games, which, for those of you that don't know, what that falls down to essentially is the 7 and 8 seed play each other in one game. Winner of that advances and becomes the 7th seed, whereas the 9 and 10 seeds end up playing each other. The winner of that game goes against the loser of the 7th and 8th seed game, and the loser of that game of the 9th and 10th seed ends up being eliminated. Now, that game between the loser of the 7th and 8th seed and the winner of the 9th and 10th seed will, if they win a one-game series, single-game elimination, will advance to the 8th seed of the playoffs, which means there's a lot of games to be played. And especially in a season where you already had teams that didn't rest much going into the season, it's not ideal. So LeBron, not being a fan of the setup, did have some choice words on Twitter. He did tweet, whoever came up with this needs to be fired. And I'm sure that there are other people that share that sentiment. Greg, I'm going to start with you. What do you think about the comments? Do you agree with LeBron? Is there some issue with this format?
Yes, I do agree with LeBron. Now, I don't agree that the person should be fired, but I understand the sentiment because 72 games is more than enough to determine the top 8 seeds. This is essentially a money grab for the NBA with the playing games. It's just trying to recoup some money. That's what it really comes down to. And for those fans out there that are saying, oh, well, they did the playing games last year. Last year was an anomaly in all sports. We cannot use that as the basis for everything going
forward. Shouldn't be a barometer. I agree.
Yeah, exactly. So to say, oh, well, LeBron was fine with it last year in the playing game, nobody knew what was really happening last year. Everything was let's take this one step at a time, and then we'll deal with it as it comes. And on the backside of that is, for these people that are out here, because they're going in talking about, oh, he doesn't want to play tough competition. And it's just so dumb. It's just some of the stupidest comments I've heard. Like, I really need people to be better. How can you say the defending champs are scared to play tough competition. Oh, he was fine when he was the 1 seed. But these same people did not have this energy when Luka, Mark Cuban, and Draymond said the same things about the playing game. They didn't talk about
Yes.
how they're scared of competition and how, they weren't saying this when they were, higher seeded. Nah, all y'all need to just shut up, bro. I'm tired of y'all.
All right. Coming in hot on the Monday. New format. I mean, it's same Greg. New format, same Greg.
Same
Dak, what do you think?
emotional, hardcore Greg Polish this morning. Hey, you know what? I'd be pretty emotional and hardcore if I pitched 6 clean innings yesterday. So shout out to you, bud. Got to get it in there somehow. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that all the rage kind of against LeBron is misplaced, especially when we see guys like Draymond, who, let's just be real, it's a lot easier to be mad at Draymond than it is to be mad at LeBron for just about anything, given the controversy and just really how Draymond carries himself. But I'll say this. I'll say I disagree with the way LeBron said the person should be fired. I think that's extreme. I get his sentiment, like Greg said, but you're LeBron James. Let's be a little bit more careful. You don't get to shoot your mouth off like that after the game, because obviously millions, hundreds of millions of people are going to hear that and think, wow, okay. And they're going to listen. It's going to, I mean, if you're that guy, you feel terrible. But even still, I think he's a little out of line in that regard. But I agree with the fact that, okay, the playing game, it's a money grab, like Greg said, and hopefully it won't be, around to be here for the next couple of years, kind of like baseball when they have this 18 playoff. Have they even decided on a playoff this year? Because I haven't heard anything.
I don't believe so. There hasn't been a format chosen yet, but there's a lot of time still.
Yeah.
It's good to know earlier than later, right? Yeah, well, I do agree with you as far as LeBron James getting the criticism that he has. What I will say is, for any sport, anytime that you do see like one game kind of eliminations like this, it is exciting, not just as a money grab, but as a fan base. We can all agree that fans lock in and are excited about the opportunity to see one game decide it all for a team, whether you are a fan of that team and they win and you're excited, or you lose and you're like, well, this shouldn't have happened. You can find the pros and cons to both. But the excitement around it, I will say, is very real. I think from the player standpoint, I understand the sentiment for anyone that's now in, from the 7th to the 10th seed, looking at your situation as, wow, we have to play ourselves like into the playoffs when this shouldn't have been the case at all. So I do agree with some of it. I do, from the fan standpoint, I feel that is not just the money grab. It is excitement, and that tends to go hand in hand. If the fans are excited, then it's usually going to mean more money for that organization.
Can I just say one thing to the fans aspect? Yeah, it's exciting, but I'm also a fan that believes that I don't care how exciting Russell Westbrook is as a player. Mm-hmm. Your team is 29-35. You don't deserve a chance at the playoffs at that point.
Also very true. I think that aspect, I agree, Greg. You bring up a very good point. For a team that has not done well in the season, to have an opportunity now is something that's difficult. And Declan, to your point, when you do that, the MLB has now shifted to that, allowing for a wider playoff. You got a call right after I finished. Having a wider gamut in the playoffs, you do allow for some of the lesser deserving teams to have a chance to make some noise and maybe go on a run in the postseason. Carl, what do you have to say, sir?
So I see it twofold. I mean, I wasn't too thrilled with the play-in tournament because clearly my team has been struggling all year, so I hate it. Yes. And I hate the fact that they could get eliminated off of one game. From the beginning, when they mentioned play-in tournament, I completely hated the idea. But if I'm going to look at it from the other side of it, and I've been talking to my brother about this, he said that a regular season is 82 games. So for players who are complaining they're going to be playing more games, you're playing 72 games this year. And I understand that the schedule was clearly constructed that you're playing more games in 1 week. The playing games, yes, you're playing more games, but think about the 10 extra games that you didn't play in the regular season. And for LeBron to complain about it, if you want to be fair, you knew about the play-in tournament when the season started, and you didn't say anything about it then. But then now that your team is on jeopardy of making it into the tournament, now it's a problem. So pick and choose. You can't do that. You see what I'm saying? Anyone, and that goes for Mark Cuban, that goes for Draymond Green, that goes for anyone who has a problem with it. If you wasn't saying the same thing when the season started, when they made the agreement that the players made in the union that they were going to have this, why is it a problem now? So again, I understand injuries happen. I understand that your team, struggled during the year, but in the beginning of the year, when the Players Association presented this as an option, everyone agreed to it. But then now that we're getting closer and your team may be in it, it's a problem. You can't do that.
So I don't think you're being entirely accurate there, Carl, because when a players union agrees to something, that doesn't mean all the players are on board with it.
Okay.
The union,
but nobody said something before, though.
Yeah, you can speak out on it.
But nobody said anything when they started. But now all of a sudden we're getting close to the playing game.
So there's two things I want to address what you said. You said, this is part of the 10 plus games they played. You also failed to mention that they're coming off the shortest offseason ever, and they're playing a condensed schedule on top of that. So those 72 games may feel like 82 games because of the condensation of the schedule. And then
what about load management?
Well, that's why there's so much load management because of that.
I mean, you need it. You need it for your star players. Like their bodies aren't used to this kind of wear and tear in the short period of time.
And this comes to the point where fans don't treat athletes as people, and it's kind of tiresome because it's like, well, you're making millions of dollars, you're supposed to play because I'm paying money to see you play, and not give a damn about how their bodies are reacting to condensation of the schedule. And instead of saying, you know what, maybe he does need a rest because he's been going at it. But to your point, Carl, about them not saying it in the beginning. Were they asked in it? Because I would have to go back and really check. Like, did they respond to questions asked by media? Because a lot of times when players respond, we just go based on the response, but we have no idea what prompted this. Because these players don't just talk out of turn like this for the most part. I'm not sure if LeBron was asked a question and then he tweeted that or whatnot. I would have to double check that.
I think he said it after the game too.
Yeah. I mean, listen. At the end of the day, I understand about the scheduling. Everyone knows, and load management plays into a factor. And I understand going back to why they decided, again, there were two options on the table when you go back to when the season ended last year. It was either they started at Martin Luther King or they started right after Christmas. What it came down to, honestly, was the money. So the players, and again, it's unfortunate, but not every player agreed with it, but they knew this is what it was. A lot of the rookies and the players who were on 1-2 year deals were going to lose a lot more money because of the contract negotiations if they elected to start on Martin Luther King Day. So it was either Martin Luther King and you get more rest, or you start right after before Christmas and you play more games. And what was presented is what they agreed upon. It's unfortunate, but this is the job. And again, I don't mean to sound like that fan because I do understand everyone has their gripe with the schedule, but this is the job. This is the job. You play the games. Again, baseball plays 162 games a year. NFL, they play 16 games. This is the job. And it's unfortunate that we all had the pandemic. Everyone has a situation where they have a job where they may not have liked what happened over the year. It is what it is.
You know what's crazy? The NBA, it's the only sport where fans complain about players taking games off. It's the only sport. In baseball, guys get off days all the time. You'll never hear a complaint. In football, it's once a week, it's 16, 17 games or whatever it is now. But if a guy can't go, normally he's on the injury report, but it's not a big deal if he can't go.
Yeah, like, you see, my only issue, sorry to cut, I'm just going to make one more point. My only issue with the taking days off is, again, if I'm paying, say, God forbid, like your son, if you're taking Chris to go see a game and his favorite player is not playing because he's load managing, I'm pissed off now. You see what I'm saying? So I think I think the rest
fan
of
perspective.
From the fan perspective,
yeah,
if I'm like that hurts. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm paying my hard-earned money. If I'm going to travel all the way to Boston to go see Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and they're on load management that night, I'm a little ticked off now. You see what I'm saying?
Not even that. But like, what if you're totally right. Like, what if you're a kid from New York and you like the Lakers? You got a 5-year-old son, and you go to bring him to the Mecca, and they're playing the Lakers and LeBron and AD are resting. Then you're like, why did I just pay so much money to go to a game? And I totally agree with you.
This is part of the misplaced anger. We are blaming the players when the organizations are the ones who make the calls. But yet, NBA fans refuse to acknowledge that. They always put the onus on the player when the organization is the ones protecting their investments.
I agree with that. Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah. I think one thing I will say to Carl's point, Mark Cuban voted for the playing games, right? There was no complaint. As the owners had a choice. Mark Cuban voted for playing games, and not until his team was in the position where they have to be in the playing games did he start to complain. And you saw that for everyone that did complain. Their teams were in the 7th to 10th seeds in the standings and looked at their situation and said, wow, we might be in trouble now because we have to play more games. And then you saw the comments, well, this is stupid, this is bad, why are they doing this? So I do think when you saw, like, early, but when the season started, they had an opportunity, like Carl was saying, to say something about it. They didn't. Not until their team was in the position to play additional games did they start to complain. So I think there is something there as well.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to put one thing out there, unrelated to what we're talking about, these playing games. An update on Basketball Jones and the fantasy sports team. I'm just saying, the sports hit list.
Listen,
the championship.
Let me say this. Whatever Greg has going with this sports hit list, I have nothing to do with it. So this has nothing to do with the CEO. I have nothing to do with what goes on.
Why do you want to distance yourself from greatness?
Because the things that go on in this chat, I just sit there and just watch because they comment on Greg being a bad GM or president or whatever it is. I get a lot of it
isn't deserved though. I will say that
it's insane because Greg doesn't approve trades. I hear he's acting like David Stern. He has an inner David Stern in himself. He vetoes trades and so forth. So I don't know.
He's an owner himself too.
I'm not taking responsibility for it.
No. I could be critical of my brother, and there are some trades he sends that are fugazi, 100% a fact. But the number of trades that he had vetoed this year seemed like the league had an issue with him more than him like putting out bad trades. That's beside the point, though. What I wanted to talk about was the semifinals of the Sports Hit List Fantasy Basketball League, and your boy Stephen Polius, aka Basketball Jones, pulled out another victory. To Anthony Mullen, I'm going to address you directly because you made some egregious claims. I mean, at first it seemed right. You know, I was the 8th seed all season, and I decided I snuck into the playoffs. I should have been one and done, and I wasn't. Won the quarterfinal, and I won the semifinals. I'm in the championship, going against the number 1 team in the league. The odds are in my favor, but I made it. And what's your team name again? I'm like that. You're not like that, bro. So for those of you that do care, and even those that don't care, Basketball Jones is in the championship. It's a great feeling. Anyone that's played fantasy knows if your team wasn't looking like anything, if you drafted Hassan Whiteside in the 5th round of your basketball league and you made it to the championship, you already know what that feels like.
That's resume material
that's
there.
when you work the wire like a champ, bro. I was bobbing and weaving. I was caught with the crossfade counterpunch. So all of that happened. It's been a great weekend. I'm looking forward to this week.
Jose says Steph has been playing games since February in the fantasy season. He's on fire.
Bro, you ain't wrong.
You know what I don't get about these playing games though, because I know we got to move on, but just quickly, aren't there enough teams in the NBA that make the playoffs that are under 500 or that are like kind of on the fringe of being a decent team? I feel like we have a lot of that. And Greg, I know you're against these playing games, but even in baseball, we see it. Like we saw it in the shortened season. Bad teams make the playoffs. Yeah. If they do the playoff thing again, we might see a second place team that is, at 82 games that wouldn't make the playoffs otherwise. Do we think like that's like a huge issue if baseball goes this way or the other? Because I feel like the NBA has that already.
Well, you know what, Declan, I'm going to add to your point, the one point about the playing games that I hate. It's like the chances of an 8th seed or a 7th seed beating a 1 or a 2 is very, very slim to none. Like it's happened in NBA history maybe 5 or 6 times. So you're playing 2 extra games just to lose in the first round. To me that makes no sense.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Greg, any rebuttal to?
Yeah, I don't know what Declan's talking about with bad teams in baseball making the playoffs. I'm kind of that one.
I mean, we had 500 teams make it last year.
Yeah, 500 is average. Bad, but the Wizards are like what 7 games under 500.
They were like 20. Yeah, they were like 6 games under. But again, like the Marlins last year, I mean, that was an average team. Average team shouldn't be in the postseason, is what I'm saying. Average to me is bad, and if we're looking at
that's not the definition.
But it doesn't have to be a definition. These are teams that don't belong in the playoffs. If a team is below average, they could have an average record, but if they're below average in terms of record statistics in the league, they shouldn't belong in the playoffs. Shout out to Manny. He said the Marlins too. Absolutely.
The Marlins were 31-29.
Yeah, 2 games over 500. That's not what. So 83 and what is that? 82 and 80 is going to make the playoffs? No way. That's not a playoff team.
Yep. Well, I think we could leave it there. I don't think we're going to have anyone budge on either side, which is fine. Either
except
way,
Andres, but that's because he's from Miami.
Yeah, but either way, the playing games are going to happen, and we're going to see how it plays out. And I'm sure after those games, we're going to see a lot of reaction from players and how frustrated they are with, having that one game and losing potentially. But moving on to some NFL talk. So we did cover the draft on Friday. I wasn't here for it, but Greg, Declan, we had Travis and Sean. Yeah, we had a lot of talk about the draft. We're going to touch on it right now, though. So the draft concluded, and I think you guys only covered the first round, right? I think that's all that took place at that point. So the second through seventh wasn't really covered. And obviously there's a lot of duds there. There's also a lot to talk about as well. I'm going to start with you, Declan. What, in your opinion, who are some draft winners and some draft losers? Just let me know what you saw, like as far as who was taken. Did you love them? Did you hate it? Where do you sit on some of these teams?
Well, I thought the Jets with the Elijah Moore pick was really excellent. The fact that he's a first-round talent, I mean, let's just put it out there, guys. He might be better than Tony, the guy the Giants drafted in the first round. We have a first-round talent, Kadarius Toney, excuse me. Yeah. We have a first-round talent in the second round. It's always great to see. And speaking of first-round talents in the second round, the Giants hit big on that linebacker pick with Azeez Ojulari. I hope I'm saying that right. I think I am. But that's an excellent pick, linebacker out of Georgia. I'm telling you, this kid was the best pass rusher in the draft. He's going to show it this year, and we're going to see a lot from him. So I really love what the Giants and the Jets did in the second and third rounds. I thought the Jets, they picked the guy with the same name twice. I thought those were both really good picks. Mm-hmm. Overall, I'm very happy with what the Giants did aside from the first round. I know Kadarius Toney's an excellent player. I think he could still be good for the Giants. Greg and I were on the same page with this. It just wasn't a need for them. I would like to see them get a tackle. And I think the Browns going with Joke in the second round is a great pick too. For some reason, this guy slid. They're saying it's size concerns. I don't see it. I think this guy's still amazing. And then he's going to be really good for the Browns, and he fills a need on defense. And I think Olivier Vernon left. So that'll be a nice one off the edge because depending on how they're going to use him, obviously a second-round pick, he's going to get a lot of burn. So I really like the picks from those three teams, especially.
What are some losers for you, just before we move on to Greg?
Some losers for me. The Raiders did pretty bad. If we're going with the Alex Leatherwood.
Manny, you knew it already. Don't get upset. Don't get upset in those comments, Manny.
They were pretty bad. But the second round pick, they went with the Trevin guy, the safety from Washington. I'm not sure where he's from. Trevor's something like Monesca or
something. I think it's like Morig or something like that. Safety.
Yeah, Trevin Morig. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Morig.
Like Moergih or something. That was a really good pick in the second round. So that was good on Mayock and Gruden. But I really didn't like their first round pick.
There's some reaches there.
Yeah, huge reach. Like this guy, Alex Leatherwood, Mel Kiper was last thing. Not that really means a whole lot. But this is a guy that was probably going to be around in the second round at the minimum. I mean, he wasn't Walker Little, and Walker Little didn't even play last year. He's a tackle from Stanford. I forget who grabbed him, but that was a good pick. The Eagles got Landon Dickerson. That pissed me off because I think he's a really good center. I thought the Steelers would get him. The Giants were rumored to get him. Center guard combo. That was a good move there. But winners and losers, I'm gonna go with the Raiders. They're probably the biggest losers in this draft. But the Vikings had a pretty good draft too, especially getting Darisaw after the trade down with the Jets.
Nice, Greg. What about you? Who are your winners and your losers?
So I definitely had the Jets as one of the winners. Jets, Chargers, and Browns as my winners. I think the Browns had a great draft, but they already had a strong defense, and they got even stronger. Chargers getting Rashawn Slater at 13, as I told you yesterday, for our fantasy team is going to do wonders for Justin Herbert.
Yes.
And the Jets, like Declan said, Elijah Moore is a first-round talent. But even though we didn't get Javonte Williams out of UNC, because he went the pick right after Elijah Moore, we ended up getting his backfield mate, Michael Carter, which I also thought was a great pick in the third round. And I'm going to shout out
Michael Carter. I'm joking. I know.
I'm going to shout out something our guy Big John said, and he said the fact that a defensive-minded coach was okay with going with offense on his first 4 picks in the draft tells you how confident he is in his coaching ability, which I love. And Salah has this quote that he wears on all his shirts: "All gas, no brakes." And I'm all in, bro. I'm all in for this guy.
So played out.
Love that.
I heard this so
cool.
much.
Find a cooler quote from another head coach. You just can't.
This is so Jets, though. The best moments of the Jets season are from, like, March to, like, July.
Daniel Jones is your quarterback. Shut up.
See, but this is
wow,
so
that's
funny
disrespectful. This is a disrespectful Greg on a Monday.
It's okay.
Like
Greg
what?
Greg has a quarterback. Greg has a quarterback that he knows is going to be bad. So he's saying they're all winners and stuff, but he knows they're just setting them up.
But here's my thing: you're the same one who talked about Joe Judge and a culture change, and that's literally what I'm talking about. You're talking this nonsense about Jet fans best. Like your team has sucked for more years than they've been better. So what are you even saying right now?
My team, dude, your team has been terrible since I was in third grade.
But I don't deny this. But you're talking like your team has been that good. It hasn't.
They played one game when they were eliminated last year.
I don't care. They suck.
They will be in contention for the playoffs for the next 2 years. Let's just call it what it is.
Not with that guy.
They had a much better offense than offensive free agent signings in the Jets did this year. That's for sure.
Look at what you have to backtrack to even compare.
Kenny Galladay. There's not a receiver in New York that compares to him.
Cool.
Not even close.
Corey Davis will have a better season. Calling it right now.
With who? Zach Wilson? Stop it. Who's your week one starter, by the way? David Bales might be your quarterback.
Daniel Jones had one more touchdown than Sam Darnold last year, and Sam Darnold was statistically the worst quarterback in the league. Don't talk to me right now.
Declan, what is your response to that?
A bad year. Well, he had 24 in his first year.
Yeah, so. Stop going back to the rookie year. Nobody cares about his rookie year.
Everyone on Smoke and Mirrors knows that you do like to lean on the rookie season, Deck. I'm just saying that is a crutch for you. It's
because no, it's not a crutch. You have
absolutely. You always revert back to it. Absolutely.
There's not much else on the resume to speak to.
Daniel Jones sucks. Well, in his rookie year, he threw 24 touchdowns. Nobody cares about that, bro.
Let's just get into it for a second. Seriously, Carl's laughing. Let's talk about this.
Carl wants to say something.
Said he had a bad
year. I do. I have something quick.
I'll let you jump in.
I have never said that Daniel Jones did not have a bad year last year.
You called him a franchise quarterback. Enough said.
Not enough said. He's the franchise guy right now. You kidding me? Saying they're gonna win Super Bowl.
Carl, say what you got to say and move on to the next topic.
To be fair, again, I'm kind of new to this football thing because of the panel. I watch a lot more football. He's only played for 2 years, and I understand football is one of those games where everyone has a chance. It's what have you done for me lately? But he still hasn't even hit his prime yet. That's all I'm saying is that again, we can't give up on a play. And I understand people are already giving up on Daniel Jones, and I am a Giants fan, maybe a little biased in me, but again, he's only 2 years in. Same thing.
Hold on, Greg, before you go.
Hold on.
Yes, he hasn't had improving based upon numbers. He hasn't had great 2 years, but we still have the future left. So
this is the same
Giants
guy
are relying on. I would say give him the opportunity after the third or fourth year. I'm always of the mindset after 4 years, you're not producing, then it's time to figure out.
I'm good with getting rid of him. I'm good with getting rid of him after 3.
That's all I say is 4 years. Yeah. But again, what do I know? I don't know football like that. So that's all I'm saying.
I would give him 3. This is a make or break year for him. But Greg is the same guy saying that Josh Rosen didn't get a fair shot. Josh Rosen sucks. He's on his 4th team and he was drafted 3 years ago. So I don't want to hear it. So we don't give up on guys this early.
Of course, you're not going to add the context into Josh Rosen that his same coach that he got when he was drafted also got fired that same year because there was nothing around him. But anyway, continue. Go ahead,
same thing with Daniel Jones. Same thing with Daniel Jones. Pat Shermer got fired.
I'm sorry. I get Carl's point though, right? Like you want to give him a chance, but at the same time, to look at what Daniel Jones has done and say he's the franchise quarterback, like he hasn't shown you enough to say that with certainty that he's your franchise quarterback. He's someone that you still needs to prove. I mean, you said that. You just said it. You mentioned it right before Carl went.
Did I not say it's a make or break?
No. This is before you said that. You said he's the franchise quarterback.
It's so
right, but the Giants came close to making the playoffs, though. Did they not this year? Right?
Like, it's ridiculous.
That's what I'm making. These are the facts. They came close to making the playoffs. So what else did we expect from Daniel Jones
in that division?
Okay, fine.
Evan Ingram,
NFC East, fair.
And Evan Ingram dropped away from being
But again, what have we expected from Daniel Jones we haven't seen yet? I understand he has a lot of turnovers, right? What else did you expect to see from him last year that we're not seeing?
Better ball placement, more consistency, better backside awareness from the rush because he has no awareness, no pocket awareness.
Better pocket pass altogether. He did a lot more with his legs than he did with his arm, and that's good. It's good to see that, right? Like it's nice to see that no one expected him to run the way he's running. So if he adds that to his resume, and he could be a runner, and he's a threat when he gets it together with his arm. Because I'm not as down on Daniel Jones as Greg is. I probably haven't made that known on here. Declan, you both of you are polar opposites. I usually just stay in the middle, but I'm not as low on Daniel Jones as Greg is. However, I do see a lot of the faults and the flaws in his game, and it takes time. It takes time. And this, Declan, I agree with you 100%. this is the season, right? Especially what they put around him to see what happens. So I wouldn't go as far as saying, yes, Daniel Jones is a franchise quarterback. He's going to be the guy that leads the Giants to, the promised land. Maybe not. The defense, I think Daniel Jones in this capacity, if it's a lot easier for him because their defense should be improved. Daniel Jones could be a game manager. He could be a game manager and allow for the Giants to win games and not lose it for them by turning the ball over, which is what he is prone to do. Putting them in positions to lose, he has to prevent that, and the Giants will have a very good chance of doing well.
Well, let me ask this question to the panel. Has there been a quarterback who struggled the first 2 years and turned it around to impress you and have a great career? And then
Josh Allen.
Remember? Yeah, man. Josh Allen was really bad his first 2 years.
Yeah. So that means there is.
He was really bad his first 2 years. He was like a little below average.
So that means Daniel Jones still has a chance. So that means Daniel Jones still has a chance to turn it around.
Yeah.
I mean, he has a chance, but he's not. I don't see him in the caliber of quarterback that Josh Allen is.
I don't see him either, but I see him having a shot.
Also, good. Carl, I really do think it's interesting that you are the same one that said they almost make the playoffs, but you're also the same guy that says almost doesn't cut it in sports when it comes to the playoffs.
Man,
fair.
Carl, that's when you talk too much. It's when you talk too much.
I know. You got me. That's fair. You're right. He's right. He's right. I don't say that often, but Greg Poley is on his own show. On his show, he's right. I don't say that often, but he's right. That's fair.
Chris Paul is sitting at home like, yeah, tell him. I know you're watching the show, Chris. I know you heard about us. It's all right. I got you, bro. You don't deserve all that slander.
Daniel Jones, though, can we just talk about this for a sec? They come up, new head coach, new offense, and look, do I even have to mention that his offensive coordinator is Jason Garrett? We saw him ruin Tony Romo, and he's almost ruined Dak. Jason Garrett's the coach off of no OTAs, no preseason. New head coach. Receivers were like top 5 in drops. They had maybe top 3. They had some of the most drops in the league. I'll get that stat on you guys. And the pass protection was horrible all year. And they had a rookie left tackle who they had to bench week 5. So, listen, I'm not saying that Daniel Jones is going to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. If he's half as good as Josh Allen, I'll take it. But let's give him his third year shot. They got the weapons now. There's no excuses. I mean, guys, if he flops like he did last year, it's over. It really is. So that's where I'm at right now. I say, you know what? He's shown some moments, not enough, some moments where that'll deserve him to get the third year. If he can make him good this year, if he can do his job, then it'll all work out. But if not, it's over.
Steph, before you go on the topic, I can't let this slide because Beck is talking out of both sides of his mouth right now. You can't say in one breath that a guy is a franchise quarterback. And then the next breath,
he could be.
No. That's not what you said. That's not what you said.
Well, he walked it back a bit because it wasn't could be. It was franchise quarterback.
It's
on the record.
Fair,
I mean, the live is safe.
I'm being fair. No, he's the franchise quarterback for the moment. I mean, is he not?
I see all these qualifiers. You have to add in
wishy-washy.
He's not your franchise quarterback. Because then you're saying if this is his make or break year, if this is your make or break franchise quarterbacks, Justin Herbert is a franchise quarterback.
Yes.
Yes.
Agreed. Burrow is a franchise quarterback.
Agreed.
But did the Giants view him? Did the Giants?
Kyler Murray is a franchise quarterback. These guys that you know for a fact going into the next 3-4 years are going to be a starting quarterback. You cannot call a guy a franchise quarterback that has so many question marks.
He's a starting quarterback at the very least.
Can you call a guy? Hold on. Can you call a guy? First of all, the team views him as a franchise quarterback. What NFL? Can you call a guy a franchise quarterback when the team owner says they're going to win Super Bowls with this guy? That's putting trust in a guy. And too much.
I mean, to be fair, I've seen people call Zach Wilson the franchise quarterback.
Yeah, and he's not.
And he hasn't even taken a snap.
Yeah, so
they're just words, though. They're words. It's all about manipulation. Like, as long as you, as an owner or as a face of a team, say that this is our guy, then the media will eat it up, right? It makes it seem good. Like, you always want to make it palatable. And I think that's what every organization does. Does that mean that they are on paper? No, but they'll say that because they made the pick early on Daniel Jones and everybody questioned it. And you can't walk back and then go and say he's not our franchise quarterback. Why the hell did you draft him in the place that you drafted him then? So I think that's more like cleanup and taking care of the aftermath of a situation that maybe in the draft room you thought was good, but the media took it and said, well, no, why was this the guy? You had so many other players that you could have taken this position and you took Daniel Jones. So I don't necessarily think that it is the case that he is the franchise quarterback. Deck, time will tell. We have a season to show that.
We do.
So,
and only one season.
Yeah.
But the one thing I'll say about, I know that like that's what you're supposed to say, but listen, Eli Manning was in year 3, and John Mara came out and said, I don't know if we can win with this guy, and they drafted him first overall. So he's been talking out of both sides. He played it differently with 2 young quarterbacks. Obviously, we know who turned out. I'm just going to say Daniel Jones is not going to be Eli Manning. I mean, I hope I'm not breaking any hearts right now saying that.
He might be. The Eli apologists are not happy when you talk about Eli negatively.
Why would I? Eli Manning is the best quarterback in New York football history. Thank you. Love Eli Manning.
I don't love Eli Manning. I mean, stumble, trip, and fall into your Super Bowls. Eli Manning, that is. But
Eli gets too much flack. To me, it's amazing. I've never seen a 2-time Super Bowl champion get so much flack as much as Eli has, and I don't understand it. I mean, we don't.
If you don't watch the games, if you just see the headlines afterwards, you're like, how did they give this guy flack?
I don't understand it. I mean, is he a 2-time Super Bowl MVP too?
He is.
I've never seen that, and it's in NFL history. And again, I may not watch football like religiously, but I follow it enough to know I've never seen a quarterback who's won 2 Super Bowls and beat Tom Brady 2 times get as much flack as Eli Manning does. But
I've never seen a quarterback win 2 Super Bowls get so much flack and get said he's carried by the defenses when both the defense weren't even ranked in the top half of the league. I've never seen it. Actually, that's the first time a quarterback has ever won multiple Super Bowls with defenses in the bottom half of the league. So there you go. Some little Eli wisdom on this Monday afternoon.
Yeah, well, that's fun. That's exciting. Deck, I'm glad you got that off. Maybe you'll simmer down now. So what I do want to know, we're still going to talk a little Jets-Giants. I want grades. What are the grades that you'd give the Jets and the Giants for their draft, since we've been gravitating towards Jets, well, really just Giants for the last couple minutes. But what are the grades? Greg, I'll start with you. What would you give the Jets? What would you give the Giants for their draft?
I'll give the Jets a B minus.
B minus.
And only because, again, I'm not fond of the Wilson pick. I think they fell in love with the hype train.
Yes.
And I think Justin Fields was the second best quarterback in his draft, and I'm sad to see him fall all the way to 11. I think he should have been in a Jets uni. But I do hope, Zach Wilson, as Chuck said, fresh off his prom king victory, wins us some games. But what I really liked was the back end of the draft, where Saleh really showed, what he plans to do on defense while drafting these hybrid guys that kind of like a Mark Barron or a Keanu Neal who could play safety, play outside linebacker, even improve our special teams, because if you watch the Jets last year, the special teams was atrocious. Okay, and they may not be impact players right away, but these are guys that can fit the system and the scheme that they're going to be running on defense. So I'm really looking forward to that. As far as the Giants, you know what? I'm going to have to give the Giants a B, even though I didn't like the Kadarius Toney pick, them getting that extra first round pick and all that, all the extra picks was huge. They got a great player in the second round on defense. And, the only pick I really didn't like was, I can't remember, it was the 4th or 5th round where they went corner, but I didn't really think that was much of a need. But I think overall both teams had pretty solid drafts.
I just want to say I feel sorry for your kids because you are a harsh grader. A B minus for the Jets because they took Zach Wilson.
That means you would hate me. You would hate me then if that's the case.
Man, I wasn't expecting it. The Giants got to have a higher grade. Deck, what about you? What do you think? What are your thoughts on how they finished on the draft?
Yeah, as far as the Jets go, I'm gonna have to give them an A, maybe an A minus. I'm somewhere in that range. I think that they did a hell of a job. Listen, I hate to be this guy, but it's going to be incredibly hard for any of those quarterbacks that the Jets were going to pick to succeed in a Jet uniform. But We'll see how it works. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. That's what it is. However, they did a great job. I thought the trade up with the Vikings to get AVT was excellent. Elijah Vera Tucker, I thought that was a great trade. Although USC players have been cursed going to the Jets, I think hopefully a lineman will break the curse there and be good. But that was an excellent need, and they could put him at guard, really strengthen up the strong side of that, blind side of that offense for Zach Wilson next to Mekhi Becton. I love the Elijah Moore pick. They got a nice receiver that they really could have gotten in the late first round. I mean, would I have been shocked if the Giants picked more? I would have been less shocked if they picked more in the first round than if they picked Tony. So that's where I'm at with that. I think the Michael Carter pick, the running back at UNC, was excellent. Filled the need without really taking a need in the first round and putting yourself all in on one back when you didn't need to be, and not the most particularly strong running back class in terms of it's not very top heavy in my opinion. I know Harris and Etienne went up in the late 20s and were good, but I wouldn't have taken them in the first round just because I'm trying to stick to the philosophy of not taking running backs in the first round unless it's like top 5 and you got a guy who you think is generational. Whether you think Saquon's generational or not, that's just besides the point. I like the other Carter pick. I really thought that they had a lot of depth, and I really liked like I said, I like to trade down. As far as the Giants go, I wanted to try to spend more time on the Jets because we spent more time on the Giants before. As far as the Giants go, Justin, great point about Joe McKnight. Rest in peace. He was from USC. He was excellent on returns. As far as the Giants go, I'm going to have to give them a B-. I didn't really love the Tony pick. I love the trade down, getting the first round for next year, especially if you think you might be taking a quarterback if Jones busts. You kind of handicapped yourself in a nice position, which hopefully if Jones busts, someone else will be drafting besides Dave Gettleman better. But anyway, I like the trade down. They got great value. It was a smart trade down. The pick was Darrisaw there, and they fumbled the bag. Tony could still be good. Not a need. Got to protect the blind side. You got Andrew Thomas on the blind side, so maybe you want to protect the other side. And for sake of speeding this up, I loved the Aziz Ojulari pick. I thought he was the best pass rusher in the draft. And unlike Greg, I did like to trade up for corner. I think corner is definitely a need. Bradbury, yes, is a top corner in the league. He's been locked down. Really is just an all-pro corner in my opinion. But after that, you got Isaac Yiadom, Sam Lewis. Beal is always a question mark if he comes back. I think they had Nelson. I don't know if he's still there. But the safeties are good. It would be nice to add a nice piece to the linebacker position. So that's where I'm the corner position. I think they needed that. I think they did pretty good. But I'm going to have to give it B- because I really did not see that Tony pick coming at all. And I wish it didn't happen. I really like Darius on that.
Travis is very upset listening to this right now. But it's okay, Travis. I'm sorry.
Because I gave a long answer.
No. Just because you didn't agree with him that Tony was the right pick. And again, Trav, sorry I missed you on Friday. Mine is really quick. Actually, Deck, I mirror yours. I have an A- for the Jets and a B- for the Giants for every reason that you listed. I don't want to belabor the point, but I just felt that the Giants could have hit on some areas of concern that they did not. And the Jets, to me, was just well-rounded. Really, I'm not a huge fan of Zach Wilson. I felt like, they bought into the hype train. And a shout out to Chuck from the Sports List for mentioning the smear campaign against Justin Fields and, potentially, Bill Belichick, he essentially said that Bill Belichick is the person behind the smear campaign so that Justin Fields would fall to them. It didn't end up happening, but Justin Fields going at 11 instead of, going maybe at 2, it changes what quarterbacks are taking moving forward. So they got a quarterback that they wanted that they potentially wouldn't have gotten if it wasn't for everyone deciding that Fields was no longer a competent quarterback. And shout out to the Bears it is ridiculous, but shout out to the Bears for trading up for him. Smart. It was a great move by them. They were actually I didn't get to get to my winners and losers, but to me, they were winners for just that alone. But yeah, A- for my Jets and a B- for the Giants. I'm looking forward to seeing both teams play. I'm a Jets fan through and through, but just with the debates that happen on Smoke and Mirrors here, there's going to be so much behind every game that's played this season. Seeing how the Giants do and how Daniel Jones does. It is.
That's going to be fun. Smoke and Mirrors Monday after Sunday of football. That's going to be good.
There's going to be a lot to say. We might need to expand the time. Who knows? But that is going to do it for us on the NFL side. We're going to start talking some baseball. We hadn't had baseball for like a week. I missed you, right? Baseball. Like there's been so much that's gone on, and we managed to do. What are you doing? You're going to leave, Carl? Are you upset now?
Oh my God. Wait, hold on. We have a little bit of trash talking from Carl. Carl said on the NFL draft show that he expected a full baseball show on Friday because of Greg. and he was taking shots, and I had to, defend my guy.
That's only when Greg texts me. He goes, for the first time in Hitless history, we had a full hour of baseball, because I don't allow that on my Wednesday show. And I'm like, listen, you book whatever you want, because I'm not having an hour of baseball talk. That's not happening. You get 15 minutes. You're lucky you get 10. So that's up to
underserved.
Listen, I know on Smoke and Mirrors we're gonna get an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours close to baseball. So you guys cook with the baseball. That's what you guys do. So,
hey, the viewers go up though when baseball is in the air.
We're just tapping into a market that you're missing out on. I'm just saying Wednesday might have some more views if you.
Hey, listen. Wednesday shows we know the vibes. All I got to do is just say LeBron and Jordan and Kobe, and all bets are off. We know that how that goes. All right, that's all we need on our Wednesday. So we good on that. Hey,
boss man. I'm not gonna question you. You do your thing, man. All right, I'm just here. But yeah, getting into some baseball, which is fun. I'm gonna start with your Yankees, because we were not just we, I think every Yankee fan was highly critical of the Yankees. They were cellar dwellers and not doing very well offensively, defensively. The pitching looked like it was a mess outside of Garrett Cole, but they're sitting at 500 now after Sunday. And Garrett Cole's done what Garrett Cole does. He strikes out a lot of hitters, and he has a low ERA. His ERA is at a 1.43 right now. But you're seeing Tyon come on and pitch well. Kluber had 10 Ks yesterday on his 100th win. Shout outs to Kluber. Good for him. Happy for him. But the Yankees now, pitching wise and hitters, the hitting has come around. Glaber is hitting. You have for those that were upset at Judge, and I think there were some calls for him to get traded. Judge is doing what he does. He's hitting home runs and hitting for average because he can do that. So
I'm glad I picked him for MVP.
Chuck is in the comments going off. Said 9 guys in the sports hit list can beat the Tigers. He's not sold
yet. Get a little A's Sun Devils joint team to go up against some of the Tigers.
Chuck, I love that pessimism. I love that pessimism because that's what I feel like is reserved for Met fans. But seeing Yankee fans have that is amazing to me. It makes me feel good. It gives me energy. It puts fire in me.
That's how you know Chuck's a Jets fan also. He's like a Yankee Jets fan. He's not a Giants fan talking like that.
That's true. So Yankees doing well. Deck, how are you feeling? Do you buy in? Chuck doesn't, but do you buy in? Are you thinking this is the trend?
Yeah, I buy in. This is a team that's going to win 95 to 100 games and win this division for sure. Listen, here's what I'm saying. First of all, shout out to the idiot in Steph's league. Really just, I don't know who it was, but what an ass clown. The ass clown that dropped Corey Kluber, who has now bounced back his next 2 starts, and he's just continuing to get on the train.
Yo, Dick, meet me outside, bro.
What's up?
Meet me outside.
That was you?
Meet me outside, bro.
No way. That's awesome. I'm so glad. Thank you so much.
Meet me outside.
I'm glad the person was on air with us. Wait, did you pick him up, Deck?
That is amazing. I did pick him up. And
Deck loves picking up scraps. He's Chuck knows. Chuck, I know you're in the comments. Chuck, he just picks up all the scraps. He's a vulture. That's what he does.
Here's my thing. For Corey Kluber, for what he was paid, went 4 straight starts and didn't even make it to the 5th inning. When you're in a position where you need pitching in your league, you're just gonna have to sacrifice some guys. It happened that he did it against Baltimore and Detroit, and he had 2 good games. But but he was trash before that.
I mean, yeah, but it is early in the season. I think it's a bit of an overreaction. But even still, I see where you're coming from. Listen, he hasn't dominated great teams, so he's going to have to do it more. I'm a fan of Kluber. I thought it was a good signing. My dad didn't. But even still, I have Tyon also on my fantasy team. I think I got him in both leagues. He was excellent. I think he was he had a rough 5th inning, but he struck out Miggy to keep the deficit to only 1. Really just made 1 bad pitch in that game. But I like the Yankees right now. Stanton is on a tear. He's hitting 3 for 5, 2 for 5 every game. And it is even just against bad pitching. He started this against Cleveland, against Bieber. So he's hitting 270 now. For him, that's good, especially where he was. The come up is real for Stanton. And Judge is hitting 300. He's almost at 10 home runs. We see him. He's got 3 multi-home run games this year. Listen, he's probably not going to be the MVP, but the pick is not out of the water yet. So I'm happy with my Judge pick. By the way, Steph, I sent you a little trade request today.
I did see that before the show. I haven't looked at it. I'm assuming it's going to be ass, but I'm going to check it out.
No, sent me was
I made it fair.
It was god awful. I read it and I deleted it because it was trash.
Because first of all, it's a feeler. I sent out, who did I send out? I sent Joey Gallo, Dansby Swanson, and Nathan Eovaldi for Trey Turner.
Yeah, kick
It's
rocks.
a feeler.
Kick
It's
rocks.
a feeler. Listen, you know what? Kick rocks. He's like
it's
5
okay.
and 24.
Whoa, it's okay. It's okay. Hey, well, it's all right. We have a long season. I do want to say, Greg, to your point, I looked at your team and there's potentially someone else you could have dropped instead of Kluber. Just saying. Put it out there.
Oh, no, I dropped a bunch of guys.
I know that, but all I'm saying is if you wanted to keep Kluber for the upside, I know it's 4 games, but the pedigree. But moving on, I want to talk about the Mets. We talked a little bit about the Yankees. We're going to talk about the Mets. Last night, the Mets one thing that they haven't done much all season was they put up runs late in the game. 8th inning, you had the Mets score 6 runs. It was amazing to see that much offense going behind their pitcher and the bats coming to life. They followed that up with a decision to bring in Edwin Diaz in a non-save situation. And I will shout out Greg right now because I was with him at that time and he called it out. He's like, why would you do this? This isn't going to end well. And not that it didn't end well, but it was very ugly. Edwin Diaz, I believe he was 2/3 of an innings, 2 hits, 2 walks, 3 earned runs, and it should have been 4. But Hoskins, who came in, hit what we thought was a home run initially, but due to a technicality, ended up being a ground rule double instead. And instead of scoring 4 runs in the inning and tying the game, it was only 3 runs, and it was 8-7 at that point. So the Mets, they took out Diaz at that point. Familia came in and struck out Bryce Harper to end the game, which is great to see. But looking at your closer, the guy that, you traded away your top prospect for, really in Kalinick to get Edwin Diaz and Cano, we have to talk about Cano, but that is it's frustrating to see in a non-safe situation because we like to believe that in New York City there's always the pressure, even if you're on the road, to perform because you have to be great. And Diaz likes to say that it doesn't affect him. However, you can't come in with a 4-run lead and cough it up immediately.
Trash.
Walks, hits, giving up big hits, and really only got off the hook. Maybe. I mean, I watched a few games with him, and his stuff doesn't look like he's hurt. It's a mental thing. Yeah. Ultimately, what it comes down to.
It's also a mechanical thing because if you look at when he spots his fastball, it catches too much plate.
Yeah, excuse. I'm not making an excuse for him. We saw it with Mariano. When closers don't come in safe situations, they get weird. I don't know why that is, but we've seen it before. They come in tie games, they get weird. They come in down 1 or 2, they get weird. Come in down 4, they feel like they don't have to make as good pitches, and that just lets the wheels fall off. It's weird. I can't explain why, but you've just seen that before. So I'm not going to sit here and bash Edwin Diaz. I think he can be really good.
No, I'm going to bash him.
I think he's earned that. He's earned that. He hasn't played well enough as a Met to say, oh, yeah, I'm going to give him this one off. He's done this more consistently than he has pitched well. So he does deserve a bashing.
Not this year,
though. The sample size, Dak. It's the sample size. This much good, this much bad. You can't just say, oh, well, this is a one-off. That's what he's known to do. He gives up a lot of runs. He walks. He hasn't been consistent enough to believe in him. So I think Edwin Diaz will have better days. I like to hope so. But it just was a bad showing, and he got lucky on a technicality.
He got slapped. Yeah.
Yes.
He's only had 3 save situations this year. That's kind of insane.
Yeah, I mean, just either the Mets are up big or the close games are losing. I want to just point out my Mariners are.
I was waiting. I knew this was coming. I got a rebuttal, but go ahead.
Yes. My Mariners, for all those that hated on the pick, they are 16-13. They are right behind the A's in the AL West, and I will say that they were on a 4-game losing streak. They broke that. Going up against, they won the last game in the series against Houston. Then they took the series from the Angels, which, I mean, Deck had them winning the West. So it's not a bad team that they're going up against. The Mariners are scrappy. All right. And you're going to keep hearing about them because they keep making noise. So, and Kalinick's not up yet. I said he was the X factor. Kalinick's not up yet. Wait for it. It's going to happen. Graveman's doing well as a closer.
Yeah, I picked up Graveman. Yeah, hold that.
Yeah. Hey, who's holding that? I don't know who's that for. Is that for Deck?
Yeah, probably. It sounds like it should be.
I'm really angry.
Yeah. But I would like to shout out my Kansas City Royals, my pick to win the AL Central. And they have the best record in the American League currently at 16-10. They lead. Can they keep this up? I don't know, but I like where it's going with Salvador Perez and Carlos Santana kind of having resurgent years, both hitting around 270, 280, 6 dingers and 15 plus RBIs. They're kind of, anchoring that offense. So I hope they could keep it up because I think that'll make for a very interesting division with the White Sox. I had them as the wild card and I had the White Sox as the division winner.
Yes.
But I think that will be a very good playoff matchup.
Can we give a little shout out to the man that Andres told us both was horrible, he would never be good again, and that's Andrew Benintendi. He's having a little bit of a nice come up here. All my
2-home game a few days ago.
Yeah,
he's been getting there.
I don't know. I always felt like Benintendi, for all the hype that was surrounding him coming up, never really performed to match the hype.
I would say in 2018, I agree. I'd say in 2018 and 2017 he was good. He was linked. Maybe I always linked him. Carl wants to leave so bad.
We got to wrap it up.
Yeah, I got class in like literally 3 minutes,
I always linked them with Conforto and Judge kind of took the upper hand, and then now it's Conforto. I think I have Conforto better than Benintendi. But Daniel Lynch, Kansas City pitching prospect, is going to go for them tonight. He's making his debut, so that should be exciting for Greg's Royals. And I think I'll leave it at that. I'm obsessed with Benintendi, what he can be, kind of like how I'm obsessed with what Clint Frazier can be, but not what he actually is.
I want to mention one last thing to round it out, and it's just the Reds and the Cubs in the NL Central. That series and those two teams, even though the Cubs aren't tops in the division, they're in the bottom half. It's exciting. It's bringing excitement to the NL Central. Those games have looked intense. Not the same level, but close to what we see with the Dodgers and the Padres and just like the back and forth. It makes for good baseball. Their Sunday game was a 13-12 finish, I believe, in extra innings. You had a 10-inning game. There were 30 hits total. I believe there was about 25 runs scored between both teams. It was a shootout. And you had your Dex boy, Nick Castellanos, who had a huge game. I mean, for all the crap that you give him, the guy hits. He may not be the best defender, but he
what crap do I give him? I just said
he doesn't play the game right. He deserves it.
No. I said that he had one ridiculous.
I don't know. You harped on it.
But he's a hell of a hitter. Hey, the Cardinals, the Reds, Cubs might be the Sun Devils and the A's this Thursday night. So,
I
could have a little brouhaha.
I would pump the brakes on that.
I don't know, man.
So Sun Devils are not Cubs. I mean, maybe in the way they are in the division, but
hey, listen,
you guys aren't bad. I don't want to throw any dirt on you. You're a good team, solid team.
Yeah, she was like tied up going into the sixth. And we
didn't have all our guys, B team. But yes, with that, we're gonna wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed the first commercial-free episode of Smoke and Mirrors. May not be the last. We don't know. But if you enjoyed it, let us know. I'm your host, Stephen Polius, alongside my fellow hosts, Declan Krogman and Greg Polius. And boss man, Carl Coulange is here hanging out with us. Gave his little 2 cents, which we appreciated.
No problem. Anytime.
Again, thank you. Hope you enjoyed. We'll be back Friday between 1 and 2 on our regular schedule without any technical difficulties. But take care, enjoy the week, and we'll see you on Friday.
Don't forget the regular Wednesday show, I believe, is at 5 o'clock, and got the B show on Thursday. So check out all the rest of the content.
Yes.
All right, you guys.
We need Greg and Falco on the B show.
I do. Listen, I'm trying to get that in the works. I don't know how many bottles of wine I got to send to Greg's house or whatever he needs, or how many bottles of Henny. I think if I offered him 2 bottles of Henny,
I need Greg.
Y'all need 2 hours for that. That's a long show.
That's the main event I'm trying to book. If Greg's willing to do it, Greg, are you willing to do it on spot?
You know what? If it's on the B show, I'm willing to do it.
Oh, snap.
Only on the B show? You wouldn't do it on the regular
show?
I was thinking. You wouldn't do it on the regular Wednesday show?
Nah, because it's going to get ugly on that show.
All right, I'm going to talk to Deb right now and see what she says.
It got to be after finals, though. It got to be after
Start selling the tickets now.
I will. I will. All right, you guys take care.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.